You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am your host, Phil Better, the podcast mogul, and I am thrilled to introduce our distinguished guest today. They are not only a seasoned real estate professional, they are a trailblazer with over 31 years of experience in the industry. As the chairman and founder of Smart Real Estate Coaching, our guest is at the helm of a 4-time best-selling authorship, a Forbes Business Council membership, and a 3-times Inc. 5000 honoree for fastest growing company. He's on a mission to transform W-2 employees into creative financing real estate investors, and his track record speaks volume with over $100 million in transactions completed. As if that's not impressive enough, he is also wearing the hat of host of the globally ranked top 0.5% podcast, Smart Real Estate Coach Podcast. Get ready to delve into the world of real estate transformation and creative financing with our expert guest, because this is an episode you don't want to miss. So without further ado, with me hyping up our guest, please welcome Chris Prefontaine. Chris, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Phil, thanks for having me. You know, you're doing the intro and I'm thinking the show is Invest in Yourself and your last name is Better. How could you get, that's just perfect.
I know. It was like when I was dropped from the skies, they're like, yeah, this guy's going to be making a show about investing.
It didn't even dawn on me until 2 seconds ago.
And I also like to make people feel better. But hey, look at that. Chris, I'm very happy to have you here. I was able to talk with your father, I believe. Yeah, your father earlier, on the podcast. I'm really excited to talk with you. So let's start with it. What's up? What is it about the world of entrepreneurship that you love?
The world of entrepreneurship. The word freedom comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably comes to mind, Phil, because we did a survey of our Wicked Smart community, and that the reason that just dinged me right away when you said is that came up over and over and over again. Sort of a surprise to us. Like that was the number one thing people wanted. I'm like, bingo, that's what entrepreneurship is. It doesn't have to be real estate, of course. So that's what comes to mind for me. We can dig deeper, but freedom is most definitely top of mind.
And what was it about real estate that drew you in? Why was real estate what drew you in?
I can tell you what keeps me there now, and I think it was probably the same that drew me in, and that was 2 things. One is the variety of different niches inside of the real estate umbrella, let's call it, the real estate industry. There are so many different things to do. That can be a curse and a blessing. It can be a curse for someone who goes from shiny object to shiny object. But in my case, I did and still advocate to work on a niche and master the daylights out of it. Like I'm talking 3 to 7 years, and then go, okay, what can I stack on now to that? And the other piece that is interesting then and now, why I'm still here after 33 years in the business, is it's never the same. When I use the word variety, never ever the same. We get deals from students on a weekly basis. We do deals with them in the trenches, and on occasion, still almost weekly, I'll go, well, that's different, and work through it. That's cool. So as soon as I'm bored from all that, then I won't be here anymore. So I can't see that happening in real estate. That's what keeps me going. That's what got me in.
I love it. Speaking of real estate, well, obviously, speaking of the deals that you do and how they sometimes completely be like, wow, that's completely new to me. What was it like doing your first deal in real estate?
A bit of a high, because the visual just came to mind when you asked what was it like. It was a property on a golf course, a house with some extra land, and I had luckily grew up with a father who was in the welding business, but he dabbled in land, and I knew kind of how to subdivide. And then I had a partner that knew the same, so it was a bit of a high because I got to see stuff come to fruition. And I'm talking, I was probably 25 or 6 at the time. I was still working at my father's welding supply business, but I was dabbling on the side, and that was my first deal. We learned some lessons in it, meaning there were some struggles as always, but we got it to fruition. And there's no cooler thing when you're making a salary. I think at the time I was making like 50 grand for my family company that my father owned, and do a deal that's probably double that, right? And that's cool. So that, I can't say that didn't hook me to your earlier question, but maybe it did.
I like that. And since then, you've been doing different styles of real estate. You don't follow the same common core where you go to the bank, get the mortgage, and then you go buy the property. You do wicked smart deals. You like to look at things differently, and I love the idea of wicked smart deals and that, especially from Boston. I love how you guys say wicked, really everything. So how did that start coming about? Like, how did you start developing these different ideas to finance real estate deals?
I wish I could give you this really pretty snazzy answer, but it came about because the 2008 crash hit. I called it debacle in my first book, but it was ugly for me. So prior to the crash, just to give some context, I did some in the early 90s. I did some building and things like we just explained on the first deal, land and whatnot. Then I owned a brokerage, like most people know. Hey, realtors, I didn't know what I was doing with that. That was a new thing for me. Then I sold to Coldwell Banker. So I went through that whole process. That was 2000. But then I started working on my own investments, and that it was commercial, residential, a bunch of things, and started coaching people in the realtor field, not investment field, which I do now. And that led to the crash. And so to answer your question, coming out of the crash, I went, whoa, I'm not buying conventional anymore. I'm not signing my name on a loan anymore. And every one of your listeners who bought a home, they personally guaranteed the loan in almost every case. And that can get you in trouble. It did me. So I came out of it going, okay, new rules, time to re-engineer the business, no banks, not using our own cash, or very limited. You got to use some sometimes, but not gobs of it. And only buying on creative terms in general. My book is Real Estate on Your Terms. That's where it came from. So you design it, and it's either owner financing or lease purchase, or what they call subject to existing mortgages, which means I buy your house, but your mortgage stays in your name and I own your house. So those are the only ways we buy. It was a long answer, but that's what got me into creative by default, by pain, if you will.
I like that. I like how a dark period, the 2008, where everybody just enjoyed so much fun times, created this a new way of thinking, if you will. I'm very interested in the last point you said, how you do your creative thing, where the person still owes the mortgage, but you own the house. Now, when you're doing these deals, are you paying off that person's mortgage?
No, great that you caught that, because that's not like we weren't diving deep into that, but you caught it. So here's what's really interesting when you talk about investing in yourself too, and that is when there's two different groups of, let's say, two different avatars. When I talk to someone who has a free and clear house, I'm probably talking about them becoming the bank and me making payments to them and owner financing, and they're in good shape, right? So it's a different conversation. Now, other side of the coin is I'll just think of a deal. Someone went through a divorce, not a clean one, ugly one, arguing, just didn't want anything to do with the house, and it was behind 1 month. Now that leads itself to what you just asked, the subject to existing mortgages. So what do? We buy the house, Sub 2 means we buy the house, their loan stays in their name. The wife was I think the wife was in the deed and he was in the loan, or vice versa. They both have to sign off. The house comes to us or our entity, right? I'm being simple, but the loan stays in their name and the rate's 2.75 or 2.8. Now think about that for a second. In this market, getting houses at the 2, 3, and 4% range when you cannot do that right now. I'm not gonna say ever again. I'm gonna say not now.
For the foreseeable future, those rates are beautiful rates that may never exist again.
Yeah. So now, if your question, my answer about the 2, 3, or 4% didn't perk ears to go, wait a minute, I could get that my own house. Forget being an investor. Just how about if I go learn how to do it to get my own house? That's a cool thing, and I think we're gonna have to do that for the next foreseeable future. To your point.
So everything stays in their name, and you own the property. How does the payments go? Like this is like completely foreign to me because I'm not in real estate. I'm in podcasting. So they're very different.
You're not alone, Phil, because my son-in-law spoke at the MLS, the soccer convention recently, because they were trying to teach soccer players, professionals making good money, how to transition into the real world. They wanted us to show them this. And one of the equity partners who buys billions of dollars worth of real estate had dinner with my son-in-law, Zach. I don't know if you had Zach on your show, but he said basically, essentially, Zach, what, how are you doing that? So you're not alone. Yes, the loan stays in their name. They're the guarantor. The deed transfers to us until sometime we pay it off in the future, and we make the payments directly to the bank, just as a management company would. If you hired a management company to run a rental, it's the same thing, only we own it.
Okay. So in essence, all you're doing is you're taking over the loan, but it stays in their name, and you're making the payments for them, and they're happy because they don't have to make those payments anymore. Okay.
Yeah, like that couple was behind, sadly, right?
Yeah.
So they needed a fix yesterday, and we were the solution.
I like that. I think that's an amazing way of doing it. You're helping out, but also you're getting that property, and you're not destroying your credit, trying to pick up another property in the the market. Geez, words. You think a podcaster would be able to speak words?
All right, words can be hard.
They definitely can be. When someone's jumping into the world of real estate, this is very interesting because a lot of the millennials don't have that security that our previous generations had. So they're looking for some wicked smart ways to get into the real estate market. What's a piece of advice that you would have for someone about to dip their toe, maybe not into the investing part, but looking to purchase their first house, because it's still an investment and probably can do the creative financing that you guys do over at Smart Real Estate Coach?
Yeah, first of all, I don't know if you agree. I'd love to hear if you do or not. The word, bravo to the millennials, because the word security is a joke, right? In the job world, we have been for the last 10 years helping people escape their job. So good for you if you didn't go that route. My son didn't go the college route and came right in business with me. So good for you. Well, I mean, okay, so you're looking to buy your first house, or you're just looking to dabble. I think there's two different trains of thought here. One is find out. There's a lot of cool things in real estate, as I said earlier, right? Your first question. There's a lot of cool niches. So find out what gets you going. If it's just to learn a skill set to buy your own house, creative real estate for sure is the route, because you want it for you to keep. There are other niches though that are income generating niches that you can find out what resonates best with you. How do you do that? It's free. Right? Nowadays, you go on YouTube. I mean, we posted, I don't know how many deals now, 400, at least 300. There's a lot of deals that we post. And you just go look at them and follow the logic and what the seller did and the buyer did and go, yeah, that's for me. Or no, you know what? Not for me. Okay, then go find another niche and research that. You should be researching for free. You shouldn't have to pay to do that. And then I could talk about coaching stuff later in the show. But yeah, that's what I would do. Go research for free. That's a short answer.
That's great. Like just research, figure out the stuff that smarter people have figured out, or at least not necessarily smarter people further along on the journey of real estate have done, investing in that. Your goal with helping the W-2s leave their JOB, which a lot of people nowadays, like you said, security is a mystical word for us. Why is it so important for you to help W-2s get out of the JOB?
Okay, this would resonate if anyone's ever coached even a sport, but coach, mentored, business, sports, doesn't matter. And that is, there's something magical about when anyone coaching can take someone from, I'll call it A through Z, right, to success. Most of our students don't have real estate background. Now, there are some that like had other niches and because of this market are gravitating to us. But by and large, historically, our company, they're new people. Rick just left his job last May. This guy not too far from me in the state of New Hampshire, 30 years, Phil, 30 years working for the government, left last May after being with us for, I don't know, a year or two. And that's pretty typical. So, and that lights me up because our mission, our company mission is to transform wannabe, let's say, and people for real estate, wannabe investors to wicked smart real estate investors. And if that's our mission, what better way than to literally transform people's lives and move them into real estate? It's super, super cool. And then a lot of those guys end up guys and gals want to end up being coaches too. So that's our mission as a company, is a shorter answer. And we stick to the mission, and all the decisions are made by that. And one of them is, let's help these people transition.
I love how you have literally someone working for the government, which is like, as everybody pretty much know, a primo job. Like it's really hard to get fired from the government unless you really mess up. And he's like, that's job security. And he's like, no, gonna do wicked smart, became wicked smart. And then nearly 2 years later, just walked off the job security for a life of freedom. If that's not a testimonial to the skills that you guys have, I don't know what would be.
I should put some numbers to it to make it real. So I'll protect the person.
Yeah.
He had a nice salary. Let's do a little over 6 figures. So say mid ones. And then we planned. We said, okay, we literally did a strategy for 2 days in a conference room with about 5 people. He was one of them. And the plan was to get him out. And he had all kinds of steps. But one of them, of course, was he needs income. I don't care what steps you have, right? So we create what's called 3 paydays in every deal. We trademarked it in US, and it allows people to have cash flow now, continuous, and then down the road cash flow. It's so you can predict. And he needs that. He's an engineer. Talk about an engineer brain. Like, he needs the structure, right? So he did his first, it's more now, but I think it was four deals. They were all over 6 figures, all 3 paydays. It takes time. It doesn't go day one. It takes like 1 to 3 years to get that. But now that he has those on the books, he said, done, I can go. He like quadrupled his salary when they come to fruition, when they close out. So that's how and why we did that financially. Then every other step we can do with anyone.
That's mind blowing. How a guy who was making 6 figures with the government, with a security of like no one else has, just created a couple deals that set him up for the rest of his life. And he just needs to continue putting those deals in place, and he's pretty much good, more secure, more freedom.
Yeah.
Where do you see Wicked Smart going in the next 10 years?
So I mentioned our mission earlier. We're on year 2 of a 5-year mission to transform those people I talked about and to help families and individuals create the life of their dreams. That's sort of the purpose, those mission and purpose. I don't know what after the first 5 years will be for mission, but right now we are like obsessed with lowering what we call time to first deal, TTFD, and lowering time to first sold and getting those success metrics stronger and stronger. When most companies in our space go, how many units can we sell? Can we sell our courses? We don't care. It's all about doing deals and how quickly they can in the 4 years left of this mission. Why? Because if we can get people doing deals more quickly, days wise, why would they leave? Think about it. Our deals are super profitable once you learn it. They're not easy. They're super profitable. So once you learn that skill set, why on earth would you leave? It's a skill set you have for life, as long as you can do deals quickly enough, right? Unfortunately, Phil, there's so many educators and mentors out there, as you know, in every space, not just real estate, that, the rented Lamborghini on Facebook and all these promises like get rich quick tomorrow. That's not us. But I promise you'll have a skill set that you can take for decades and have a field day with it.
Yeah, I always have a problem with those people renting the Ferraris or the Lambos and the big houses and saying, hey, can get uber rich. I don't want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. And I think the way you guys are going about it is creating wealth and not riches, because you're changing people's lives and you're helping them create generational changes, because real estate with that income creates generational, because they can take that money and they can put it into another business, can put it into stocks, can put it into, we just had a great person on who works with Blue Collar, who does finances with insurance to create your own bank, and so many amazing opportunities once you get out of the job market, because you have time to think and time to learn. Is there a deal that you've done either through personally yourself or through your coaching that you were just amazed at how awesome it was, or how how it came together so nearly perfectly?
That was a bunch. Well, this building I'm standing in is a good example, coincidentally. So I teach mostly residential because, simple reason, the way we buy can be any asset class, but I teach residential because if not, and I'm from the stage, so to speak, or on virtual, people hear too many options of what they can buy. It's shiny object syndrome all over again.
Yeah.
So I do start with the simple single families that I know it's a sweet spot that I know they can convert. However, they're going to run into other deals. So we were renting for a few years, and in 18, we said, well, this is crazy. We could afford a building, but I refused to go to a bank. So I found this building that I'm standing in today talking to you. It's a mixed-use building on a very busy 4-lane road right here with BJ's directly diagonally across the street. So it's a good area. And the gentleman was no newbie to real estate. He was a landowner in the area. He's since passed, sadly, but he owned a lot of land around here, so he knew what he was doing. He was free and clear. And because he was free and clear, I structured owner financing with him where I made payments to him every month. And then the reason I brought this deal up to your question is it was a mess. I mean, my wife has been with me. We've been married 37 years. She came in here and said, I'm not seeing what you're seeing. And that's odd for her to do that because she knows how to do rehabs. So I said, okay, just hang in there. So we had a tenant we inherited downstairs. They were immediately paying about 90% of my cost to be here. Then with the 3 payday system we have, I just used the 3 paydays that were coming out of some of the other deals, and we used our subcontractors and we rehabbed this place. I mean, this guy hadn't put 20 cents in it in 20 years.
Jesus.
So fast forward. Last year we had what any landlord may have, and Allstate was the insurance agency, and they were notified that they had to change all these things, and they said, to heck with this, and they dropped the franchise. That just got rid of my great tenant that I had that supported the building, aside from my own companies being here. Mm-hmm. Long story short, my agent said, hey, Chris, you want me to lease it, but I'm telling you, you probably can get a really good price for it. I said, okay. I threw a price of $1.2 million out to him, knowing full well that that's crazy. In about 10 days, he got 3 offers, one asking, 2 above asking, and then one of them was cash, no contingencies, no nothing, and close in 40 days. So we sold the building. I'm standing in someone else's building right now, and we're about to leave in 3 weeks. But that deal was sweet because if I showed you the settlement statement right here on the screen, it was about $750,000 net on the HUD. Now, there was no bank involved. That's the key point here. The profit's great, but if you buy a mixed-use building, if anyone has it's listening, you will go through grueling underwriting, and you will need a lot down. I bought it for $550,000. So no bank was involved, and we did it in about 30 days. So that's a long answer, sorry, but that's the coolest deal, I think, most recently.
That is a phenomenal. I don't care that it was a long, because it's educational. It's teaching my audience, like, hey, again, you could have this amazing building. You can figure out finances. You don't need to involve the big institutions, because most people are able to understand, especially if it's a seasoned veteran of the real estate. They understand how the banks eat up most of their profits, and they want to keep those profits in-house. And then, of course, you bought it, and then you're like, okay, peace out, A-Town. We don't need this building anymore, and you got a nice little dollars for it. That is great. That's an amazing deal.
Yeah.
I want to focus, because we're coming on to about the midway point here. I want to talk about investing in yourself, okay? Because it is a common theme among successful entrepreneurs. Can you share a specific practice, habit, or resource that has been game-changing for you personally in your journey, and how can inspiring entrepreneurs incorporate similar principles into their lives to sustain their growth and success?
Yeah, super cool question. I mean, I always have some coaching or mentor going on in some area of my life, whether it's physical, mental, business, skill set, something. How does that come about? And I'll give you a couple specifics. It comes about by us saying, as a company and as individuals and as family members, hey, in the next 6 months or 12, what is it that we're we need to move the needle? What are we lacking? Like, what's next? And in 17, it was, you know what? I've been a solopreneur my entire life in real estate, and I've never scaled a business. So we started seeking who could teach me how to scale a business instead of just running on a solopreneur treadmill, which was fine, good money. We were introduced to several people. We fell in with elite entrepreneurs. They're out in Arizona, Elite, ELITE. I cannot say enough about him, Phil. When I'm on his show, he thinks I'm saying it because I'm on his show, but I sat in the room in December of 17, and he mapped out for me a $5 million plan and how it's all working. And in my head, I'm going, yeah, that's cool. And the old chat looks cool, but I don't know. I never did it. Fast forward, you said it in the intro, we made Inc. 5,000 3 years in a row. We are hovering and probably will hit that number this year. Now, we did a 5-year goal. It took 6 maybe, but that was unheard of for me. And to be a founder and a chairman with amazing leadership versus me being the only one, that was my whole life. I just knew how to do that. That's a game changer, and that it's not overly expensive, relatively speaking, but it's not cheap. It was probably $3,000 a month for every year since then. The only year we took off was last year, 23.
That's insane.
I'd still be hustling, right? I'd still be hustling and doing my thing. Good, that's fine, but it wouldn't have gotten to where it is today.
No, you wouldn't be the success you are today. Wouldn't be able to help so many W-2s get out of the JOB.
No, market deals only.
Yeah, you'd be down in the group. You went from working in your business to working on your business, which all solopreneurs and entrepreneurs need to learn to do at a point, because that's the only way you get to scale. Because as you learn, we are the bottleneck in our business, us as entrepreneurs. There's only one of us, and we can only do so much. Is there something that you want to accomplish before you decide to change roles or move into a different type of lifestyle?
Yeah, I'd like to, everybody knows this, I'd like to have some type of succession plan. We've been working on it for a couple of years because I have 2 grandkids now. That's my son-in-law and daughter. I have two awesome kids. And so my wife and I now are more about creating experiences. That's sort of my why. My why has been, and it's closer now, and which is make enough money, not for money, and create enough wealth, not for wealth, but to create the experiences that money and wealth can't buy. And we're doing that. And so the more time I can spend on that while transforming lives in the field and be effective where I can be and guide everybody else away everywhere else, that's what I'm doing these days.
I love it. I have one. This is a very personal question because it's for my nephew. He's 5 years old. He's going to be, when he turns 10, I want to give him a book of all great advice from amazing entrepreneurs like yourself, Chris. So if you had your 10-year-old version right beside you, right here, right now, talking to you, what's one piece of advice you would love to pass on to to your 10-year-old self?
2 things come to mind. One's hard probably to tell a 10-year-old, but 2 things come to mind in no particular. One is the importance of knowing at that age, because I didn't know, that anything you want to do has probably some examples of or concoctions thereof close to what you want to do, or someone who has already blazed a similar trail that can help you. And when I say that, I'm not trying to persuade people not to do new things. What I mean is, if you talk to someone who's an inventor, I'm just making this up, and they've done all these, okay, you can go talk to them then if you want to create something new. If you want to have breakthrough success in real estate, you want to be if you're 10 years old, you want to be a hockey player, whatever. There is someone that can teach you how to do that. That would be the most important. And the second piece, I said there was 2, was I remember having great coaches in hockey that encouraged me and felt like, oh, I can do this. And I also remember coaches that squished me mentally. And I think back on what a joke that was. Well, who were they to tell me that? So telling the 10-year-old, look, mentally, don't let anyone in, except for the people in your family and the people that you're following on the first answer I gave, because that will affect you. It affected me. It probably affects everybody to one extent or another.
I think those are some great pieces of advice for a 10-year-old. Find the people that know what are doing what you're doing, and don't let anybody else in your brain because they're all against you. I think those are some great pieces of advice from experiences that you've learned through your time. I do have one final question before we go, because I'm always interested in this. Since the real estate landscape is constantly evolving, how do you stay ahead of the industry trends and innovation, and what strategies do you employ to adapt your strategies in the ever changing?
Super interesting, as all your questions were. These are like unique. So in real estate, your question is what I used to do. I used to try to, okay, I got to change here. I got to pivot here. Oh, I got to go there. In creative real estate, once you have the skill set, that allows you to pivot in any market, up, down, or sideways. So that's number one. Number two, I'm constantly going online. I'm constantly doing what I said earlier to you, of looking up free videos and other avenues, because things change. Like when interest rates went up recently, the way you title, the way you buy sub 2 that we talked about earlier, properties, has changed slightly. Now, I knew that from a really good asset protection attorney. But how did I know that? I network with him. I go on his videos. I subscribe to his podcast, so you stay plugged into great minds. The second piece is I'm big with audibles or reading, whether I'm working out or in a car, whatever's applicable. And that's a phenomenal way, because if you get one nugget of an entire audible book or a physical book, it could be a game changer for you, mentally, physically, or financially.
I love it. Chris, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. I'm going to jump off screen here. Please let my audience know where they can connect with you, how they can become wicked smart real estate members, or anything like of the likes. Sir, the floor is yours.
Love it. Thank you so much, Phil, for having me. So I said earlier, for free resources, I'd like you to have free resource. I'm going to send out, my office is going to send out from this very building, free physical copy of our book. Just go to Wicked Smart Books, wickedsmartbooks.com/Phil in the numeric number 1. So it's wickedsmartbooks.com/Phil1. Now, if you want to chat with me live, I'm all about getting on the phone with you. And if it's just to say, hey, Chris, how do you do what you said? Or how can I do that? Or I can get rid of this roadblock? Just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/action. And I would love to get on the phone with you.
I love it. Chris, thank you very much for giving the book to my audience for free. I have a copy. I've been reading it. It's amazing. It's been jonesing me to get into the real estate market, which is scary, because given the real estate market up here in Canada, it's a little scarier, I think, than down in the States. But I am very, very tempted, and I'm probably going to be jumping in this year into real estate. So I want to thank you very much for that.
Here to help.
If that's not an endorsement for the book, I don't know what is. Chris, again, thank you so much for being here.
Appreciate it.
To my audience, remember to always invest in yourself, and check out those links in the show notes down below, and have a great remainder of your day.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.